Yo, what is going on, guys, and welcome back to another Genshin Impact video. Now let me ask you something. Are you looking for a KEQING build? Are you wondering whether you should use Black Sword or Lion's Roar? Should you go for Electro or should you go for a physical damage build? Have you watched hundreds of other videos from cringe-ass YouTubers? Look no further, okay? I, the #1 KEQING player in North America, have the answers for you. I have personally tested every single viable build for KEQING alongside every single viable weapon for both whales and free-to-play players, and I have finally acquired the mathematically best KEQING build. For these tests, I will not be taking into account weapon refinements or artifact substats because the only guaranteed stats that anybody can get are main stats on artifacts, otherwise this video would just apply to nobody, so let's get into it. Now the weapons that I tested are the most commonly used and most viable weapons for KEQING. For low spenders, you have the Black Cliff Sword, the Lion's Roar, and the Black Sword. For free-to-plays, we have the Prototype Rancor and the Festering Desire, and I'm not going to show or test 3 stars because they are just bad, okay? They are pretty bad. Just do not bother with 3-star weapons. Then we have the 5 stars, which are the Aquila, the Summit Shaper, and the Primordial Jade Cutter. And the Skyward Blade, of course. Each weapon was also equipped with the corresponding best hat artifact or circlet, whatever the hell you want to call it. Some had the best damage with an attack hat, others with a crit rate, others with crit damage, etc. All of the weapons are also assumed to be at their peak performance, meaning that they have like max stacks on Black Cliff, for example, or max stacks on Summit Shaper, for example, with a shield on, etc. The only exception to this is Aquila, because in order to proc Aquila's passive, you have to get hit, which is kind of unoptimal and unrealistic, to be honest. The chances of you getting hit and then being near the enemy when the proc actually happens, kind of hard to do, so the numbers might just be lying to you. So I didn't take that into account, but I did test the numbers and put them up here so you guys can go ahead and see them as well. The different builds I tested were 4-piece Gladiator for both Electro and Physical, 4-piece Bloodstained and 2-piece Glad and 2-piece Blood for Physical, and then 4-piece Thunder Soother, 4-piece Bowlight, and 4-piece Heart of Depths for both Physical and Electro. For physical builds, we obviously went for a physical damage bonus cup, and we did not recast the E for the Electro conversion for the damage calculation. On the flip side though, for all the Electro builds, we used an Electro damage cup and we enabled the double cast of the E to convert her autos into Electro. And the damage rotation that I included for testing was the total damage of her ulti on average, the damage of her stiletto, which is the little thing you throw out when you use her E initially, and then the damage of the clap, which is when you charge attack, that big slash, and the actual thunder slash, which is what happens when you teleport to your stiletto. They actually have the same scaling and they do the same damage in every single instance I tested, so I just clumped them up together in their own category. And then we'll also be taking into consideration the first hit of her normal attack and the damage of her charged attack. I didn't calculate the DPS of the 4-hit normal attack combo, which is you do all the normal attacks until she vanishes and then you jump or dash cancel. But if you just want to see which build is the best for that specifically, just look at the normal damage. The one with the highest one is the one with the highest 4-hit combo damage as well. I will be leaving a link to this spreadsheet in the video description for those of you that want to take a closer look at it, but all of these damage calculations were done using the Genshin Impact Damage Calculator, so rest assured that these are mathematically the most optimal calculations, and I will leave a link to that in the description as well. So, TLDR, what is the best build for KEQING? Well, the build out of all of these possibilities with all these different weapons that yielded the highest damage possible for her was 4-piece Thunder Soother using an Electro damage cup for an Electro build, and alongside a max stack Summit Shaper with a whopping 83k damage per rotation. One thing that I noticed was that the Summit Shaper consistently ranked as the best weapon in every single build, and the Primordial Jade Cutter was pretty much right behind it every single time as well. A lot of the time doing literally 1 less damage. The Aquila only came out ahead in physical damage builds when you took into account the passive proc, but like I said in the beginning, you have to be near an enemy and you have to get hit for the passive to actually come into play, which won't really happen a lot of the time. But the detail here is that the Summit Shaper only achieves the slide edge over the Jade Cutter when it's at max stacks and you have a shield. Jade Cutter does not have any conditions. You put it on and it just works. It just gives you damage and HP. So it's pretty much doing max damage right out of the gate, and that's exactly why I'm going to say that the Jade Cutter is actually the best sword in the game for KEQING. None of the other weapons come even close, and the Summit Shaper requires you to have a shielding unit on your team, and I mean everybody's using Zhongli nowadays, but in case you have him on your other Abyss team or something like that, the point is that you're locking yourself down to a condition with the Summit Shaper for an advantage that is barely even noticeable. While the Jade Cutter just does amazing damage, it makes your build super easy to make because it gives you so much crit rate, plus the bonus tankiness from the HP that it gives you from the passive. It's just amazing. As for the KEQING builds in general, the Electro builds are way stronger than the physical ones. I would not advise you going for a physical KEQING after looking at all these tests and these numbers. KEQING has almost zero downtime on her Electro conversion, and this lets her proc elemental reactions like Electro Charge, which do add up to your DPS, and those reactions are obviously going to be stronger if you build for Electro damage rather than building for physical. So even though you can have Electro Charge and all these other reactions while you go for physical, they will be significantly weaker, so it doesn't really help all that much. 4-piece Thunder Soother also has the highest damage output, but the highest ease of use, and this is what I want to highlight, because everybody knows that it just does 35% more damage to people who are affected by Electro, and since you can apply Electro to pretty much anybody with KEQING, they're always going to be taking that extra damage. But the key here is that because she has zero downtime on her conversion, pretty much any enemy you will come across, you will be able to affect them with Electro, and you'll always have that damage proc. But even against enemies that are Electro immune, like the Electro Hypostasis, for example, or Electro Slimes, you're still going to be doing bonus damage because they're innately affected by Electro. So not only are you taking less damage from them because Thunder Soother also gives you Electro res, you will also be dealing more physical damage, more elemental reaction damage, everything. All of that is going to be increased. So even if you can't deal Electro damage, you're still doing more damage with this build. If you compare it to running 2-piece Thundering Fury and 2-piece Glad does give you 18% attack, but that buff comes nowhere near the amount of damage that you get from the Thunder Soother debuff or buff, whatever you want to call it. And the 15% extra Electro damage from the 2-piece Thundering Fury isn't coming into play at all in those instances. So in conclusion, the best build is definitively 4-piece Thunder Soother with an Electro Cup and Electro playstyle, and the best weapon is the Primordial Jade Cutter. The Summit Shaper technically has the highest damage output, but it is locked behind needing a shield unit on your team and having max stacks, so it won't just work out of the gate. Jade Cutter just gives you all of the damage up front. But if you run Diona or Zhong with KEQING, then by all means abuse the Summit Shaper if you have it. And as an alternative, you can also use 2-piece Glad and 2-piece Thundering Fury. Like I said, it has those drawbacks compared to 4-piece Thunder Soother, but this is the second highest damage output that you can get. As for low spenders or best in slot 4-star weapons, the weapon with the highest DPS is the Black Cliff Sword with a crit rate hat, closely followed by the Lion's Roar. And as for free to play, you have basically two options: Festering Desire or Prototype Rancor, and Prototype Rancor wins by a long shot. And even though I used R1 Festering Fang in the spreadsheet, just because not everyone was around to get the Festering Desire refines, even at R5, it still loses to an R1 Rancor, so I just cannot recommend this weapon. The substat is completely wasted as well, since KEQING needs no help in getting gold energy. So hey, listen, the KEQING banner's coming up, so if for some ungodly reason you're gonna pull on it, the Primordial Jade Cutter is on the current weapon banner, so try and get it if you can. If not, it's fine, but it's really, really, really good. It's a lot better than I originally thought, to be honest. And I would strongly advise against playing physical KEQING. Like I said, the average DPS output is just so much worse than Electro. The only time I would say it's worth, or better, is if you have an Aquila Favonia and you go with either 4-piece Bloodstained or 2-piece Blood and 2-piece Gladiator, and you also get hit a lot. Anyway, that's it for me, guys. This video took a lot of time and effort. I've been working on this for like 3 days. I had no internet. I couldn't upload this, so I finally have it back. I'm uploading it now. I even delved into the dark abyss that is the KEQING mains Discord and subreddit to verify my findings and see what other people had to say. And this is why KEQING mains are cringe, okay? The fucking weapon guide document is called the Queen's Arsenal. Like, bruh. Anyway, they arrived at basically the same conclusions, so these are kitten-approved builds. I hope you guys found this video useful or at least entertaining, and if you did, then please consider dropping a like and subscribe for more Genshin Impact content, and leave a comment with what character you would like to see a video like this about, and I will try my best to do it. Thank you to all my patrons for their continued support. It really, really means a lot, and I want to thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in my next video. Take care.